Thanks, Steve. Well, welcome everyone. We've finally come to our last and final session. It's been an amazing journey so far. Rene did last week's session on mastering mindset, and it's safe to say Rene knocked it out of the park and did an amazing job. Essentially, the thing I took away from that was to get from your current reality to your goal means getting out of your comfort zone, and how that's really where the magic happens in terms of transformation and getting to the next level in your career, is just stretching yourself out of that comfort zone, and that elastic would pull you to where you want to go. So awesome job, Rene. Thank you so much for that. And today it's my pleasure to introduce you to Steve, who's going to be our speaker. Steve has primarily been a real estate coach and trainer for many years, and he's recently built one of the biggest teams in South Africa. So just like sit back and think about this for a second. Steve has built a team of 900 agents in the past 4 years. That takes some serious doing. And Steve's background in real estate coaching, he's famous for teaching a system on how to effectively generate more referrals in your business. Who of us need more referrals? I know I need some more referrals. I could do with more of those. And I can personally say putting Steve's system into practice has really been beneficial to me. And I don't think I've done it justice. I haven't had as much diligence as I should. But a story from a team of mine that I've got in Constantia that have been putting in his system religiously over the past few months. What started to happen in their business, it's been like jet fuel for them. They've literally started picking up luxury listings at 20 mil here. And the other day, I think it was 2 weeks ago, they sold a 10 million rand listing within a few months of putting Steve's system into practice. And it just shows you that you can generate a steady stream of referrals from your network. So Steve, it's a pleasure to be in business with you, and over to you.
All right, there we go. Thank you, Neil. Thank you for that kind introduction. And good morning to all of you. I trust that you've enjoyed the series. I think it's been amazing. I think there's been huge value that these two gentlemen have brought so far. I hope to add to that today. And our hope is that this has been a blessing to you. I know many of you guys are actually guests of ours. You're not with our EXP team. We'd love you to be. But if you're with another company, we've said from the beginning, we're quite happy for you to be here. And our only hope, again, is that this has been a blessing to you and that it's going to lead to success, like Neil was saying, with his other team. The good news about what I'm going to teach you today is that this referral system is not a theory. We know that it works. It has been trained to over 3 million agents. Together with my first business partner, who I launched the business in South Africa with. His name is Brian Buffini. He's the largest real estate trainer in America. They had the largest one-on-one coaching business in the world. In fact, when I met them, they had 10,000 one-on-one coaching clients as a company. I mean, that is, you know, when I visited their offices in San Diego, and they literally had a gymnasium, like this massive gymnasium with 4 square cubicles with a coach on each of the 4 squares, just coaching people as far as the eye could see. Agents all across America being coached on the telephone. That was back in 2003. So this system has not only been trained to millions, but it's been one-on-one coached to thousands and thousands and thousands. I had a coaching business here, which we started, and it became the largest one-on-one coaching business in South Africa in the real estate sector. And we had hundreds of people that we implemented the system with, and the results are predictable when you implement the system. What's the catch? The catch is that it does require a little bit of discipline, and I'm going to mention that as we go forward, that there is a little price to be paid. And even though you're never going to implement it perfectly, as Neil was saying, you know, oh, there's still this and that I don't do as part of the system. That's normal. But even if you make a start, I'm telling you, you're going to get results. So I would like to suggest to you that as an estate agent, your most important activity is, I'll tell you what, why don't you give me some answers in the chat bar of what do you think the most important activity of estate agents is? Is it negotiations? Doing negotiations? Is it, or it's two words. You may think it's drinking coffee. It may be the most important task at this time of the morning. You're saying, Stephen, I get the fact that lead generation is the most important thing, but number one right now is coffee. Well, the words I'm going to put in there are generating leads. The most important activity that you do in your business is to generate leads. And let me just take a couple of the other examples there. So let's look at canvassing or building relationships or communicating with people. I mean, these are all things. Networking. A couple of people said networking, and that's all right. But why do you network? Why do you communicate with people? Why do you build relationships in the business? And we can get, deep and we can say, well, there's other reasons for making money. We want to build relationships for the sake of relationships. Okay, but you've got friends. You don't need to be continually meeting new people to make new friends. And if you wanted to be kind to someone, you could just walk down to the main road of your town and go and give someone a sandwich. You're not, let's be honest, you're not making cold calls or knocking on doors or getting out into your area because you are just love meeting people and being a blessing to them. You network, you communicate, you build relationships in this business in order to get leads. That's why you do it. So, that, to me, that's helpful because it gets you to the point where you can say, if everything I'm doing, all the stuff I'm doing, the social media, all that is designed to generate a more steady stream of high quality closable leads, if that's what it's all about, if I could find a system that works for me, that generates leads consistently, there is a whole lot of other stuff which I feel uncomfortable by, which I don't want to do, which I don't have to do. Because if you figure out the lead generation piece of your business, guys, I'm telling you, it'll solve 99% of the problems you have. I mean, if I were to hand you on a platter this afternoon 10 luxury leads where the seller is desperate to sell, they will take your counsel on price and they will give you a sole mandate. I hand 10 of them to you this morning. Tell me that wouldn't solve 99% of the problems that you have. The most important thing you do in real estate is generate leads. And here's the problem with it. This is the one thing that most agents avoid and never truly master. I got to stop. I always count the number 1 with my thumb, and then Google Meeting gives me a thumbs up. I discovered something else the other day. If you do this, you get balloons or something. Yeah, look at that. You're learning all sorts of skills here today. So agents avoid generating leads because they don't have a system. Most agents don't have a system that's predictable, and so they go through this feast or famine thing where you manage to generate some leads, and then you get busy with those clients and you're marketing the properties and you're getting the photographs done, you're negotiating, and there's paperwork and there's FICA and there's leads and there's buyers and there's show houses, and we get busy with the properties. And the one thing we stop doing when we're so busy with the few clients we've managed to generate, we stop then generating leads. Then you're not making any cold calls. You're not phoning your database. You haven't got anything out on social media for a while because you've just been too busy. And then that takes, 3, 4, 5 months to then sell and close those deals. And then the moment you close those deals, you wake up the next morning, okay, cash is put in your bank account, the thing transfers, made some cash, and you suddenly, instead of being happy, you wake up that morning with dread in the pit of your stomach again because you've been paid, it's gone, you're never going to get paid again for that transaction, and I've got nothing in the pipeline. Now I've got to suddenly start stirring up the dust again and knocking on doors and getting out and cold calling at panic stations to try to get more leads. This is how most estate agents live their lives. Complete inconsistency of income. That's the problem. How do you solve that problem? You solve that problem by solving the lead generation crisis in your business. If you don't have a steady stream of warm, pre-qualified leads coming into your business, leads that you know you will close a good percentage of them. If you don't have a steady stream, you've got a problem in your business. Okay, so if leads are the thing we're after, the next question we got to ask is, what is the best type of lead? Because not all leads are created equal. I think you'll agree with me that, how would you rate a lead on a cold call? So you're cold calling through your area and somebody says, oh yeah, we might be thinking of selling our house. You manage to get them to stay on the phone long enough to admit that to you, and then you wangle your way into somehow getting an appointment. On a scale of 1 to 10, I don't know if you've ever generated a lead on cold calling. How would you rate the quality of that lead? Maybe put some numbers in the chat. Well, I don't mind what number. Maybe you're a brilliant cold caller and you will put 10. Man, you generate consistent high quality leads through cold calling. Good for you if that's a skill you have. Most of us don't have that skill. How would you rate a call from an ad? Or like someone sends you a direct message on or makes a comment on a Facebook post or an Instagram post. I got a lead from a woman whose husband owns a 58 million rand house in, Neil, what's the name of the place in Joburg? It's that luxury estate in Joburg. She commented on
Stain City.
Stain City, that's right. Okay, so we got this lead in Stain City with a 58 million rand listing. And how did I meet the person? She commented on one of the videos on my TikTok page. This woman has been dragging me around by the nose. I've sent her the paperwork. I said, we can't do anything. I will get my top agent in Joburg. I'll get him to come out and see you. He works in that area, to come and see you. We'll do a presentation, but I'm not doing anything until we get a mandate. And all there's already agents on it, so she can give us an open mandate. And she just is not sending the paperwork through. Yesterday, I get a message. It was that thing, Renee. It made me think of you. All the message said was, come see us. Now, I've made it very clear, that we're not proceeding until we've got the paperwork in place. Come see us. It's that billionaire communication strategy. So I'm taking my billionaire response strategy and I'm ignoring her. And I love the fact that I can afford to just ignore her, which I'm going to do. But it's a low quality lead. Someone comments on TikTok, it's low quality. Okay. Now, how would you rate a past client that you've done wonderful work with? You've got a good relationship with them. You still pop in from time to time and see them. They love you. You did a great job. You helped them find a home that they're happy in. They give you a call and they say to you, Stephen, our best friend is wanting to move into the area, and we've told them that you're the guy to work with. Okay. Or our next door neighbor's thinking of selling. We're good friends with them and we've told them what good service you gave them. Here's their details. They're expecting your call. How would you rate that out of 10? So we've got a couple of names. I'm glad somebody gave me a 10. Susan gave me an 8 on that. I'd like to know, Susan, what is a 10? If that gets an 8, I'd love to know what a 10 is. Is that when a signed mandate just gets put in your post box? Wouldn't that be great? I'm going to come up with a system where you just get signed mandates put in your post box all the time. So the best type of lead, guys, in my view, is a referral. And that's because people want to work with people they trust. And that's what referrals are. They broker trust between people. So the research bears this out. This is not just my strategy or what I think is common sense. The research bears this out. So the NAR did a bunch of research in 2015. In fact, every year they produce this thing called the Home Buyers and Sellers Report. Obviously, this is for the US market, but it's a massive market and it's a great representation of how real estate works in South Africa as well. And they said that a certain percentage of sellers find their agent through a referral. Okay, I want you to put in the chat bar what percentage you think that is. Don't be ridiculous, but like a certain percentage of sellers find their agent through a referral. What percentage is that? Tell me what numbers you think. I am going to show you the 2021 results because this report was re-released in 2021, and the number is almost identical. 6 years later, the number was almost identical. Okay, so we've got 80%, 60%, 70%, 10%, 45%, 70%, 85, 25. Okay, so here we go. 42% of sellers find their agent through a referral. However, a further 24% use the agent they previously worked with. So what's that? That's repeat business. Now you think about that. That means that 66%, 2/3 of all the homes coming onto the market in the whole of the United States, and I can tell you it's true in South Africa too, all of them, 2/3 of them, the agent got the mandate through a relationship. They were referred, or it was a client that had already worked with. Guys, that should get your attention. That should get your attention. Now, what I want you to do is on a piece of paper, write down the number, okay? Because if you write it down, then it's real. I want you to rate your average lead on a scale of 1 to 10. At the moment, if 1 is a terrible lead, it's a comment on TikTok, and 10 is your best friend refers their other best friend to you, and the person's expecting your call and can't wait to meet you, is a 10. How good is your average lead? And if you're comfortable to do so, I'd love to see just a few numbers in the chat bar. Okay, so we've got Eurydice. Sorry if I got that wrong, Eurydice. That's 3. Ash has given herself a 9. Gustav a 9. That's great. Dylan a 4. Stacy a 5. Roxanne's up at a 9. That's great. Andre Kruger. So I'm assuming the people who are at the sort of 8s and 9s, that you are getting most of your leads by referral. I'm assuming that is the case, which is great. Okay, so let's keep thinking our way through this. In luxury property, I want to take this to the next level because the case is even stronger to be made in luxury real estate that the deals are done through relationships. Okay, so I want to read you some of the research that's been done in the luxury space. According to a Coldwell Banker, so Coldwell Banker is one of the biggest real estate companies in America, a global luxury report, nearly 60%, not 42%, 60% of luxury buyers said that they found their agent through a referral from someone they trust, especially when relocating or making large investments. Luxury buyers, when they go about buying something, they don't just look on P24 or Zillow. They pick up the phone, they speak to their other high net worth friends, and they say, "Hey, Joey, I'm coming to New York. You know, who's the guy? Who's the guy to speak?" I'm characterizing New Yorkers, sorry. Luxury Portfolio International, sounds like a really cool organization, found that 70% of wealthy consumers globally consider a trusted recommendation the most influential factor in choosing a real estate advisor. A trusted recommendation. It's a referral. 70% want a referral to someone. WealthX and Engel & Volkers, this is a study that they produce, reported that ultra-high net worth individuals overwhelmingly seek agents who are known through private networks or word of mouth rather than public advertising. Trust, reputation, and past performance with someone in their circle carry more weight than branding or even digital marketing. And then the last one, so this is that same report that was then released in 2021 again, that profile of buyers and sellers showed that while the general public finds their agent via referral about 41% of the time, remember it was 42% in 2015, hasn't changed, This percentage increases significantly with property value and income bracket, often exceeding 60% in the luxury tier. Are you convinced yet? I mean, doesn't it just make sense though? Wealthy people are spending a lot of money, and wealthy people are used to being in small, tight inner circles where they don't let people in, and they want to talk to each other and get recommendations from each other. Doesn't that just make sense to you? Well, the studies bear it out. Okay, so let's talk about working by referral. There are a couple of principles I want to share with you. We are going to get into a simple system. It's not my full referral system that I teach in the Referral Mastery course, but I'm going to give you a pared down system in one session today that you can go and start and begin implementing. If you then want to add on to it, we can get you the full training if you want it. I will donate that to you as a member of this series. But for now, I'm going to give you a simple system to work with. Before I do that, however, I want to lay a few principles in place. And here's the first one when it comes to working by referral, that most people generate referrals passively. So when most agents think of how to work by referral, they are not actually thinking about what I'm thinking about when I think of working by referral. They're thinking about something we call word of mouth. Okay, so word of mouth is that phenomenon where you do a great job with a client, you go back to the office, and you sit and wait. And I did such a good job. I helped them pay the bills that were unpaid on the place, and I got the lawn mowed, and I had the locks changed for them. I did all the stuff that I didn't have to do. And man, I gave them great service. And now we go back and we wait. Surely they are going to be speaking to their family and friends about me. I mean, surely I did such a good job. And hopefully one day the phone is going to ring because someone has spoken to someone at a dinner party and they were so impressed, and now they've got my number and they've called me. That's word of mouth. Folks, if you rely on good service alone to generate referrals for you, you are going to be sorely disappointed in what you might over time begin to take as a lack of gratitude in your clients. It's not, it's just human nature. If you want referrals, you've got to go out and get them. Okay, referrals must be generated proactively, and that is done by having a system. You need a referral system in your business. What do systems do? They ensure consistency. And that's what we want, a steady stream of high-quality leads coming into your business. All right, so I'm going to give you a very quick overview using this diagram of what our referral system looks like, and then I'm going to get into some specifics on how to launch it, and then just a couple of basics on how to maintain it every month, this referral system. So we have this desire to go apple farming. It's very exciting. And the apples in our analogy here are those two things that the NAR said are the source of 66% of business. And that is repeats and referrals. It's actually quite dramatic. I love it. So the apples are repeat business and referral business. Okay, now if you want apples, you don't have to be a genius or a farmer to get this one. If you want apples, what do you by necessity have to have on your farm? You have to have apple trees, okay? Where do repeat and referral business come from? They come from people. People give you repeat business. People give you referral business. And so you need a group of people in your business. I'm waiting for some dramatic thing to happen on my screen with this new thing, or maybe that. Oh, yes, look at that. Guys, from me to you, love you. Okay, so you need a database, guys. You got to have a database. This is a group of people that you are now going to be building relationships with in a consistent, disciplined, systematic way. You need a database. Do you have a database? And if you do have a database, what do you do with it? Does it just sit there? Is it a bunch of names on an Excel spreadsheet? Or you got excited about a year ago and you typed them all up into PropCon or whatever CRM system you use, and now you don't really do anything with it? Like, do you have a database that you are working, that you're using as part of a system? Well, you need one. Once you have your group of people, your database, how do you get repeat and referral business from people? Well, you got to build the trust. You got to build the relationship with those people over time. The deeper you go from know to like to trust, the more likely they are to be comfortable to refer you, right? So part of the job here is to build deeper and deeper relationships of trust with the people on your database. And how do you do that? Well, you do that through communication. Relationships grow over time with communication. Okay? If you never talk to someone, you're not going to grow in a relationship with them. Two types of communication. On the left-hand side, the sunshine that's going to make our apple tree healthy is written communication. You're going to send these people stuff. Now, in that category, we can put a whole bunch of things. I love bulk email, social media, WhatsApp messages, text messages if you're in the States. There's a whole bunch of them we teach on the course. There's certain letters that you can write out at times, etc. So written communication, you're sending stuff to your database. However, as I'm sure you know, relationships do not grow simply on written communication. Imagine you try to have a relationship with your son or your daughter just by writing them stuff. No, you want to be together. You want to have conversations. Sometimes it's great to like WhatsApp, and that works well with certain personality types. It gives them time to think, and then there's actually a free flow of conversation on WhatsApp. I get that. I've got a daughter like that. But you know what? Sometimes it's better not to WhatsApp. Sometimes it's better to hit the little phone icon on WhatsApp and actually phone them and have a conversation with them. Well, the same is true with your database. You need to combine written communication with the rainfall, which is personal contact. Okay, so just get the big picture here. We're saying if you want to develop a steady stream of repeat and referral business, you have to have a source. That source is a group of people. We're going to call that a database. In order to build relationships with that database, you have to communicate with that database, and we're going to use a combination of written communication and personal contact over a period of time in order to build the relationships and then start getting referral business from that database. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Yeah, nothing complicated there. So I'm now going to teach you a simple setup for your referral system, and then after we've done this, the setup, how you then maintain it on a monthly basis. Guys, if you do this, it'll change your business. Is it going to be easy? Okay, it's not academically difficult to understand. It's emotionally difficult. It's going to take some admin. It's going to get you out of your comfort zone. So in some ways it's hard, which is why some people just won't do this. But for those of you who do it, I can tell you 100% it'll work for you. So some simple setup. Number one, you've got to organize your database. Your apple tree has got to get sorted out. How do you do that? 3 steps. Number one, build a list. If you've never done this before, here's the number one thing you do when you leave this webinar is you go and make a list, a written list. You can either do it on an Excel spreadsheet or even handwritten if that's your thing. But it's got to be somewhere where you can read it and interact with it, okay? You make a written list of what? Every human being on the planet that you know. Every human being on the planet that you know. If you were to pick up the phone and say, hey, Renee, it's Steve Johnstone speaking, Renee would kind of know who he was talking to. If it's that familiar, they go on the list. Now, are they all going to be communicated with now on a monthly basis and you're going to implement the system with them? No, that's not the point here. This is a brainstorming exercise because one name reminds you of another name, reminds you of another name, reminds you of someone's family, reminds you of a property that you sold. Oh, that buyer, oh, and then there was a neighbor and then the lawyer on that thing. That's how it works. So just brainstorm, brain dump every name on the planet that you know of someone who would recognize you. Okay, the studies have shown the Gallup organization. They showed that the average person knows 285 people whom in some way, shape, or form they could influence. They bump into them at a school run, and they get chatting, and they can recommend a restaurant. Or so 285 people in a circle. You as an estate agent should at least be able to make a list of 500 people. At least 500. Go through your phone, go through your Facebook friends, go through your LinkedIn profile, just put all the names down. Okay, that's number one, build. Now, sort. This is the next thing you do. Now you got your big list of names. I want you to get a highlighter on Excel. You can just highlight the cell a certain color. I want you to highlight every single person on there who you think is likely to be able to and to be willing to, able and willing, to refer you to luxury clients. Okay, so we're looking for, if you can, we're looking for you to have a list of 100 names. Out of your 500, I want you to pull out the 100 people most likely to be able to refer you to luxury clients. Okay, you say, well, I don't have 100 who could refer me to luxury clients. Well, then just get a little bit looser with your rules. I want 100 people on your list. You get the 100 best people that would be happy to refer you. That's sorting. Then thirdly, you capture. Now you've got those 100 people, you capture them onto your CRM system. And you give them a tag, advocate. That's what we're going to call these 100 people, your advocates, because they are going to advocate for you. These are the people you're getting your referrals from. What happens to the other 400 people? It's not for today, but you're going to put them on a B list. And everyone is going to get your email newsletter every month, the advocates and the B list. Everyone gets the newsletter. But all the personal contact and the phone calls and the text messages and the handwritten notes, that's only going to go to the advocates. The B list just gets the email, okay? So I'm talking fast. There is going to be a replay of this if you want it. So organize your database is step number one. Make a big list, sort it down to your 100 advocates, capture it onto your CRM system. Number two, you then phone through everyone, all the advocates, and you prime each contact. So the 100 people who are on your advocate list, I want you to phone them all and prime them. What does priming mean? It's like priming a pump. I don't know if you've seen one of those old school metal pumps in the middle of the Karoo, where if you want water, man, you pump this thing, pump. Oh, it's hard work. It's nothing coming out, but you got to keep going. And then your arm gets sore, and then your wife shouts, you don't stop. And then, sorry, you've got to keep going, because if you stop, it all goes down to the bottom of the pipe. And then slowly water starts coming out the tap, spitting, and then slowly it's a more steady stream, and then there's a consistent flow of water. And once there's a flow, you can stop. That's how this thing works. We need you to get these 100 people to the point where they understand a few things. They understand, number one, you're moving into the luxury space. Number two, you're wanting to work by referral, and you're asking them to refer you. And number three, you're going to be keeping in touch more regularly with them now, because you're about to implement a system, a communication system. You can't just assume they know those three things, because they don't. There has to be some clear communication up front. Hey, Mr. Jones, I've made some changes in my business. Here's what it's going to mean to you, basically, is what we're doing. So here is the script. If I was in your position, I'd take a screenshot of that. Hi, John. So this is 100 phone calls you're making. Hi, John. Chit-chat. Anyway, the reason that I'm calling is that I've recently made a decision to focus more intentionally on the luxury property market here in Cape Town. And I've come to see how much success in that space depends on trusted relationships and high-quality referrals. Hopefully, the way that I've served clients in the past has earned some trust and loyalty. And so I'm reaching out to a few key people like yourself to get a sense of who might be comfortable referring me when the opportunity comes up. So may I ask you, if you were buying or selling a home in the luxury space, or if you had a friend or a colleague ask you for a recommendation, would you feel confident putting them in touch with me? Okay, don't fiddle with it. Just use it, word for word. You're going to have that conversation with 100 people. Yes, Stephen, of course I would. Thanks for that, John. Your support really does mean a lot to me. I'm going to be in touch more regularly in the future to keep you up to date with what's happening in the luxury space in Cape Town. I'm going to be in touch with you more regularly in the future to let you know or keep you up to date with what's happening with the luxury market in Cape Town. Okay, what have we done there? We've told him we're moving into luxury. We've told him we're depending on your referrals. And we told him I'm going to be in more contact with you in the future. Job done. Phone down. Make a note on your CRM system, successfully primed, phone the next one. You're going to do that 100 times. Can I tell you what's going to happen during that 100 phone calls? It's not the purpose of the phone calls. You're going to pick up listings in the luxury space just from the phone calls. Because you will have, at some of those people, you're going to speak to them just the right time. They say, oh, it's funny, you should mention that. So-and-so, here's their number, give them a call. Okay? Do it, guys. I know that's not easy emotionally. Do it. Change your life. So phone through and prime each advocate. Send a handwritten note to each successfully primed advocate, thanking them for their pledge of support. So I phone Mr. Jones. He says, yes, Stephen, of course, I'd be happy to put people in touch with you. Say, great, your support means a lot. I'm going to be in touch more regularly in the future. You put down the phone. You pick up a handwritten note card, which you will see I have plenty of on my desk, because this is a discipline that I have learned the power of. Okay, we got the envelopes, we got the stamps. You send them a handwritten note, and this is what the handwritten note says. I don't have time to go into why handwritten notes. Just trust me for now, it works. That's old school. Yes, that's why it works. Okay, this is what the note says. Dear John, just a short note to say a big thank you for pledging your support for my business. I deeply value my relationship with you, and so your referrals are tremendously important to me. This is all very strategic language, guys. It's reinforcing what we're wanting from them. They're tremendously important to me, especially as I focus more intentionally on the luxury property market here in Cape Town. I promise to look after anyone you refer to me, and if there's ever anything I can do for you, please let me know. Chat soon, Stephen. Okay, so how do you launch the system? You organize your database, you then phone through all 100 advocates, and you prime them using that primer dialogue I gave you. Everyone who's successfully primed, you then send them this handwritten note. That's how you launch your system. Okay. How do you then maintain the system on an ongoing basis? Once people are primed, now what do we do? Okay, this is very simplified. I've got a more comprehensive communication plan that I teach in my full course, but here's a good start for you. If you get this far, let me tell you, you've come 90% of the way. Number one, phone through all your advocates every 6 weeks. If you've got 100 advocates, oh, somebody do the maths for me. What's 100 divided by 6? It's about 15, eh? Something like that. So that's probably 15 calls, 16. Okay, 16 calls a week will get you through 100 advocates in 6 weeks. So you're making 16 phone calls to advocates per week. Per day, that's 3 a day. Is that overwhelming? Guys, if you're not making at least 3, you should be making 15, 20 calls a day. Yeah, this is 3 calls a day to advocates. What are you talking about? You're talking about the latest communication that you sent out, which we're going to get to as a market update. You're going to be sending a regular monthly market update on the state of the luxury market in your area once a month. Then the phone calls are easy. So it's chit-chat, relational, keep it relational as long as possible. And then when there's the pregnant pause in the conversation. Anyway, Renee, the reason for the call is I wanted to make sure that you got my latest market update. What we're seeing currently in the Cape Town market is there's still an influx of foreigners. It has died down slightly now into the winter months, but we're still seeing a buoyant market out there. The average, time on the market in the last month with the listings that I know of has been about, 6 weeks, whatever the stats are. Come up with something intelligent. You've got something to talk about on the phone calls. Okay, on the phone call, you must. This is probably the thing that agents fall down most on because they're too scared to do it. Guys, if you don't ask for referrals, you don't get referrals. If you want them, you've got to ask for them consistently. How do you do that? At the end of the right at the end of the conversation. Anyway, Renee, it's been great chatting to you again. Oh, by the way, Renee, if you happen to come across anyone thinking about buying or selling luxury property and you think they'd value the kind of service that I provide, please feel free to pass along my name or send me their details. And I promise to take great care of them. And of course, if there's ever anything I can do for you, Renee, just say the word. That's how you're going to end every conversation on your phone calls. And people will start to recognize that, and it's fine. You're building a little bit of a brand for yourself as the guy who's constantly asking for referrals. That's fine, as long as you give good service and people are happy with you. Guys, this is how you build an empire. You want to be a successful agent, you've got to have a little bit of that, of the hustler in you. And this here is the hustle. It's clear, consistent communication about what you want. Don't be afraid. You're not offending anyone when you do this. Just be brave. Okay, so number one, you're going to phone through all advocates every 6 weeks. And on the phone call, you're going to ask for a referral using that, oh, by the way, dialogue. Secondly, written, remember that's personal contact. We need some written communication. You're going to send out a monthly luxury market update. Now you can do that any way you want to. Here's what I would suggest you do. Neil showed us a video last week of one of the Berman brothers in Sea Point giving a market update. Okay, he was talking about what was happening on the Atlantic seaboard in Cape Town. That's what I recommend you do. Do it with a video. Okay, so get yourself a little stand. I want to show you something. Just hold on. Okay, so this is a light stand. Okay, you can buy this at your local music shop or wherever. And what you do is you take the top off the light stand. It's normally just got a little screw on the top of it. Okay, if there's something else screwed on, to take it off. Stop at the robots the next time you've got a red light and buy a selfie stick. Okay. And then at the end of the selfie stick, you're going to find there is the little contraption that holds your phone. Screw that off the selfie stick, screw it onto the light stand. Okay? Now, what you've just created for yourself is a tripod for your phone. Okay? So now you put your phone in here, you click video, you stand a couple of meters away from it. Make sure it's a quiet environment so the sound quality is not too bad. All I'm saying, guys, you don't need massive studios and production companies for this sort of thing. Just get clever with it. Okay, so have a little script, learn it in your head. You can even have a piece of paper. It doesn't matter. You can be standing at your tripod talking like it actually looks quite good when you do this. When you talk naturally and then you check your next point. The other thing that we've seen over the last month is, and then look at the camera again. Have some notes. It's fine. Yeah, this is just my recommendation. You can just do this as an email if you want to, okay? But my recommendation is do it video because people bond with people over video. There's a whole bunch of you guys here who feel like you know me. Why? You know Neil. Why? Neil's my buddy. Why? Because I've been with Neil. Neil and I, we go way back. We've been doing this whole luxury thing together. Neil's never met you. Neil would walk straight past you at the gym. Actually, Neil's such a nice guy. He would introduce himself to you. But the point I'm making, guys, is that video is a very powerful way to get people to begin to feel comfortable with you, to draw them into your space, into your personality. So I would recommend you do your monthly market update on a video. Now, what do you do with the video? You put it on YouTube and you put it on Instagram. You want to put it on Facebook as well. Then you take the link to one of those. If it was Neil, he's going to take the Instagram link. And you email that link out together with a textual version of the update. If you want to put it in text, you can. Now, all of you are on my database. last night at 10 o'clock, you got an email from me. What was in that email? All it said was, dear, your first name, here's the next replay from the Build conference. I do a big real estate conference once a year called Build. It was this year in February in Cape Town. And every week now I'm releasing one of the replays of one of the speakers. All it said was, here's the next speaker, then a thumbnail of the video, and then chat soon, Stephen. There's no text in it's just a picture of the video. And if you click that, it takes you, in my case, takes you to my YouTube channel, and that's where you watch the video. Okay, now you can do that with your market update. Dear first name, because your CRM system will have the ability to send bulk email and to mail merge the person's first name in there. So it would then say, dear Stephen, here's my monthly update on the luxury market in Cape Town. Thumbnail of a video. If there's ever anything I can do, just please let me know. And then your signature at the bottom. People are going to click it. They're going to go and watch your market update. Here's the other thing I would do. I would WhatsApp that out to the database as well. A very short WhatsApp just saying, hey, Neil, hope you're well. Here's my latest luxury market update. Put the link to the video. Chat soon. So you're WhatsApping it to everyone, you're emailing it to everyone, and that goes once a month. You say, well, what if people don't want to be on the thing? They can unsubscribe. If you use PropCon as your CRM system, which is most of my team uses PropCon, they can change their communication preferences to turn off WhatsApp. They can turn off email if they want to. So my approach to bulk communication has always been, let the person decide if they don't want it and let them unsubscribe. I'm going to freely communicate with people. Okay. Almost there. I am going to take questions, and in fact, we can bounce questions to Neil and Renee because we'll have a few minutes at the end of today. But I'm just going to get through my section of our content. So here's the third thing you do. Remember, what are we talking about? How to continually now communicate with your database. Once it's set up, what does the cycle look like? Forever and a day. You phone through every 6 weeks. You send a luxury market update once a month. And you send a handwritten note to each advocate every 12 weeks. So every second phone call, you're going to send them a handwritten note. And all the handwritten note says, dear Renee, it was great chatting to you again. So glad that you and Mary had a wonderful time in Spain. Look forward to seeing you again soon. If there's everything I can do, let me know. Stephen, just relational. He gets a handwritten note from me every 12 weeks. Guys, I cannot emphasize this enough, what handwritten notes do. How powerful they are to deepen relationships. Know, like, trust. You want to get people to know, like, trust quickly. Handwritten notes is your new best friend. So if you're sending a handwritten note to every advocate every 12 weeks, if the maths was the same, you're basically sending 1 or 2 handwritten notes a day. You say, how do we get them to people? You post them. So, well, the post office isn't as bad as you think it is. Just put a post on it and post it in your local post office box. Okay, old school. Back to the 70s. Building critical mass. What is the potential of all this? I like to finish my little talk on working by referral with this calculation, because you may overlook how powerful it can be to build critical mass with just 100 people. So first of all, let's define critical mass. Well, critical mass is a marketing phenomenon which was originally termed by the marketing fraternity to describe a product which becomes so well known that it becomes associated with the whole industry, so that we don't even call this generic product industry thing by its generic name anymore. We just call it by that brand name. So in the chat bar, give me an example of a company that has got critical mass. So I'll give you a hint. You don't do an internet search. You just Google something. There are other internet searches, you know, but we just Google something. Ferdy says Hoover. Oh, Ash and Ferdy, you're dating yourselves. You know, if you were to ask a 20-year-old today, you don't vacuum a floor, they would just look at you. What? Hoover has lost it. Creepy crawly's pretty good. Although barracuda, some people call it a barracuda. I don't know. Anyway, you get the idea. Jacuzzi's a good one. Yeah, Loretta, jacuzzi's a good one because jacuzzi is a spa bath. But we don't call it a spa bath. We just call it a jacuzzi. It's one of the brands. Okay, so here's the point. We want you to develop critical mass with your 100 advocates so that when they hear, think, see anything to do with real estate, now in particular luxury real estate, yes, but they hear the word property, home, buy, sell, real estate, they involuntarily just think of you. Your mind, your face and name pop into their mind. That's critical mass. Now, if you get critical mass with 100 people, what does it mean? I hope you've understood what I've done with you so far today, guys, I've taught you how to get to and maintain critical mass with 100 important people. That's all that I've taught you to do today. At the moment, those 100 people are alive, are they not? They're breathing. They're going about their day. They're building their relationships. But they're not giving you the referrals. Why? Because you don't have critical mass with them. What I'm teaching you to do is get to this point. Now, if you do what I've told you to do today, what could it mean? Well, a Gallup poll showed that the average person knows 285 people. So that they can influence in some way. If you build a database of 100 advocates and you say that, well, of my 100 advocates, only they will only be able to refer me to 5 luxury clients. So I'm not going to say 285 times 100. They can refer you to 28,500 people. Yes, they can. But let's say of the 285 people that each of them know, only 5 fall into this luxury category. Okay? That means you could, through the 100 advocates that you know, get referred to 500 luxury clients a year. 500 a year. Well, if the average person moves every 5 years, I've heard 3 years, I've heard 7 years, so I'm just going to go with 5, makes the maths a bit easier. If the average person moves every 5 years, that means you get access to 100 luxury transactions by referral per year. If the 100 people you know, each only know 5 people who do something in the luxury space. Okay, let's work out the numbers on that. If the homes you're selling are, say, 10 million rand or more, some would be a lot more than that. Let's just say a 10 million rand home and you charge 5%. 5% of 10 million rand is a 500,000 rand commission. What's 500,000 rand times 100 transactions? That's a 50 million rand commission that you will make, that you can make per year by building critical mass just with 100 people. I mean, how many of those 100 transactions do you really need to make you happy per year? Let's say you did 6 transactions a year and you're making 500,000 rand on each transaction. That's 3 million rand. Guys, everybody gets so hot under the collar about their Facebook page and what they're not doing and the videos and the guys. If you just get this right, you build relationships with key people. I'm telling you, there's more business than you'll know what to do with through relationships, especially in the luxury space. And I proved that to you earlier with all that research that had been done. So the potential is enormous, is the point I'm making to you. Okay, the last thing I want to just give a quick plug for, and I somehow struggle to paste things into the chat bar in a Google meeting, but I'm going to try again. This is the website. Okay, there, I got it in. So I've put a link in the chat bar for you to this website. This is the application page for an in-person luxury networking group that Neil Robinson and I are starting in Cape Town. Renee's based in Joburg, unfortunately. So we are doing this, and it's being sponsored by STBB, the attorneys. They've got a beautiful boardroom in town, and they're going to produce luxury catering. They're paying for it all. Very grateful to Nicholas and his team. But they are wanting to get into the luxury market as well, and we are wanting to bring luxury agents in Cape Town together. If you would like to be included in that, the next event is on the 27th of May. It is by invitation only. You have to apply for a seat. And I can tell you this, I'm going to get a bit stroppy now, but just forgive me, try to see things from my point of view. Because there are limited seats here, if you apply for a seat and we give you one of the seats, if you don't pitch up at the event, you will never be invited to anything I do ever again. Okay, this is a serious commitment you're making, and we've only got so many people. Don't accept my invitation and then not pitch. Okay, because your name just gets crossed out in my list then. Not that I hold grudges. I forgive you. I love you. But you know what? If I can't depend on you, then I'm not going to invite you to things. So Stroppy Stevens had his speech now. I'm done. That was the final slide is. You're welcome to apply for that if you're Cape Town based. Even if, you know what? Even if you're in another city and you think, man, I'd love to be there, and I'm willing to come to Cape Town for a couple of nights to come and meet these luxury agents. It will be an unbelievable experience and an unbelievable group of people to network with. Why don't you come in for a couple of nights and come and join us? So I've just got another thought about, anyway, we'll talk to Renee. Maybe we can duplicate this up in Joburg. I'm precious about my little brand, though, the Luxury Agent Collective. So I need to make sure, and I do trust Renee, but I need to make sure that whoever's taking it is going to treat my little baby well. Okay, guys, I'm done. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being with us over the last 3 weeks. Thank you again to Renee and Neil for all the hard work they did. Trust that you got value out of today. Let's open it up for questions. I'm going to unlock everybody's microphones. Please only put your microphone when you are asking your question and then put it off again. And if you'd like to ask a question, stick up a hand. There's a little hand icon at the bottom of the page. And if you'd like to make a comment or ask a question, you can click that button now and I'll call your name out and then you can ask your question. And if there are no questions, that's fine. We can wrap up for today and we will see you again soon. So anybody got a comment or a question that you want to put forward? Okay, great. Well, bless you guys. Renee, have you got, you can't, can you not unmute?
There we go.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Steve. Thanks, man. Yeah, that was super, super helpful. And maybe just a comment from my side. The two things that stood out for me, I've actually never watched one of your presentations, so really, really excited about what you're suggesting. But clear and consistent communication is obviously something that I think we chatted about in the first and the second session. Being very, very clear about what it is that you want at the end of the day and which markets you want to be involved in. One of the things is I realized how easily I got stuck when I went to sell a property in the south of Johannesburg, and I got a lot of referrals from that property, but I got stuck in that part of the world. And I found myself selling, properties that weren't ideally what it is that I wanted to. So be intentional, again, is what you're saying about being involved in the luxury market. The other thing is that I found my process of connecting or building a database has been literally through those relationships. I've not picked up a phone in the last 3-4 years because of the referrals and the relationships I've built in the areas that I've worked. So as I say, building those relationships has helped me not necessarily have to do all the hard yards over the 20 years where your database is so strong that people think of you automatically when they're selling their house. But be intentional about the area in which you want to work. So really appreciate that really, really strong clarity in terms of making sure we are clear in our communication and who we communicate with.
Super, Renee. Thank you, man. Neil, any last words from you?
Yeah, Steve, I think I was just reminded of the huge potential and just the kind of compound interest of this referral system, and how even if it's 100 people, 100 people is not a lot of people to phone. You can phone them in a week, and just staying in touch with them. And especially in the luxury space, the circles are small. So if you've got a database of 100 key individuals and you just nurture that and water that, those relationships, the results could be life-changing. So it was very well put out, and it was a great reminder for me for the importance of this, especially in the luxury space. So thanks.
All right, super. Okay, guys, well, bless you all. If there's anything we can do, please reach out, ask questions. The email that I send out with the replay, I will also put the link to the full referral system. I did promise to share that with you, so that'll be in the email that you get after today. Give me till tomorrow to get that all sorted, and you can take it from there. And you know how to get hold of us if you want to chat about anything else. So God bless you guys. Thanks for joining us.